one of the drills that I really like, when I first started out with kids when they were 10, I used to teach them to go start really simple and start with the right hand and just hitting little chips and maintaining wrist angle, okay? Once they got good at doing that, I'd get the club in their left hand and get them to do the similar thing. So one side's pushing, one side's pulling. One side's a little bit more of a linear body movement, the other one's a little bit more of a pivot movement. Because if I stop my pivot with one hand, I'm going to get going like that and flinging it. So I would train them that way initially. And only the good ones would stay because they were pretty bored. So I start out with that because I want to educate both hands. So Homer Kelly talks about, there's swingers and hitters. Well, I kind of like the idea of a striker to where both sides are, you're not just one dimension. Like I would think of a swinger as like a VJ Singh. So people say, how's VJ hitting so straight, his right hand's off the club? Well, he's in ulna deviation with his left hand and he's in full supination. He's not like this with his left hand, that's just his right hand. So he's a big puller. Like he's pulling hard with his left side. And the shot that VJ hates is a hook. So obviously, VJ used to put a glove under here and swing that way. I like to teach both sides, but people are going to be one or the other. Sean O'Hare was very much a swinger, whereas Tiger is all right-handed. So he's a hitter, so we have to make sure that pivot stays up. So when you get a hitter who starts going early into extension is this way and he's hitting, it's going to be pretty inaccurate. So I'd start that way with kids first. Obviously, they're better at one hand than the other. But I've got 15-year-old kids who got up to 150 yards, left and right-handed with a 7-iron. Okay, and hit it very straight. So then from there, go into proprioception. So I'd get the kids in bare feet hitting balls. And what happens is that, 40% of your proprioceptors are in your feet. Proprioception is kind of where we are in an unstable plane. So when you slip on ice, you put your hand down. That all comes from that. All right, so it's either your head or your arm. So I get kids in bare feet as well doing that. And then I would also get kids standing on the left side, because starting to read like, I was pretty fortunate because where I used to practice, Mo Norman used to hit balls, and I could tell pretty early on that he didn't really move that. I was being told I had to move way off the ball, and I wasn't really talented enough to get back to it. I wasn't really talented at all. So I would watch Mo, and I would kind of do some of the stuff, and they say, oh, you can't hit like that. That guy's crazy. I'm like, that guy hits zeros. Like, that guy flies balls in garbage cans for hours in a row. So that kind of led me into a little bit, and then my dad picked me up the golf machine, and that was kind of a fixed, it was a fixed post. There's different variations of pivots, but I just thought, okay, if I have to be back on my left side at impact, why get too far away from there? So it's by no means am I left tilting my spine. It's not that at all. It's like a vertical centralized tilt. So when I stood like this, if I went like this, I'd fall over. And if I went like this, I'd fall over. And I think I got this drill from Bob Toski when I was like young. It was in Golf Digest. And I like Bob Toski because he was like my height and smashed it. So doing this drill here, the nice thing is that it causes you to rotate and create depth, because one of the only ways that you can stay in balance is you have to pivot through here. So if you've been told to keep your lower body really quiet so you create X factor stretch, the backswing's a counter movement. That stretch is happening in transition. So let this go. This can move. Okay? I've never seen it like a discus thrower not rotating in both ways. Right? So from here, you just sit there and hit kind of half shots to half shots.
PGA Expo at the Venetian Hotel in Las Vegas.
And so the nice part about it is you're really organizing from a neurological standpoint that you're there constantly, and that's here. So I'm not left tilted. Okay, I'm just into that position. I think when you go to hit a ball, even if you want to be centralized, when you swing to the top, I mean, your hands and arms in the golf club are moving with some momentum, so there's going to be some shift. I think theoretically, like in a math model, it makes complete sense to have a fixed axis and just pivot around it. But the human body, we're ligaments, tendons, fascia, muscles. Sometimes muscles are shorter on one side than the other. So it's, it's kind of a beautiful idea, but there's going to be some movement and lateral motion from right to left. But I never want to see in any of these drills that people's eyes are moving a lot. Like I can stay centralized with my head here and load up into my right glute massively, which is actually going to help me fire into my left side or push. So, but to me, the problem is because of target acquisition, when my head's going all over the place, I have to recalculate on my downswing where the ball is, like just with my coordination, my hand-eye coordination. So that would be one of those, and then I would take the kids from right hand to left hand till they were good at it. I mean, like chip really good with that, and pitch good with that, and then get them on one foot, and then from there we'd start to get into some transfer drills and some kind of the start of their kinematic sequence without letting them know that's what it was. And so getting them to set up normal and then putting their feet together, starting the club from there, and right when they got to like hip high, they had to step and hit. So that's in transition, creating that stretch shortening that's happening, the eccentric loading and the shortening of the muscle as it's all firing over that isometric, the stability, the center of the core. And Justin Rose does that. That's 10 minutes of his warm-up every day to get those things firing. The problem when people go to the range, it's like you're not trying to, when you're going to warm up, you're literally going to warm up. And I watch so many guys kibosh their round on the range. Whereas like Hunter, he hits it good on the range, but he always hits it better on the course because on the range he never really sits there before he warms up and sees the shot and goes through his breathing. He's just warming up. So this is a warm-up tool, and what it's going to do, for the most part, is going to create heightened sensory awareness, which is really what it is. It's like turning off these frontal lobes and letting all those motor skills start to come in and come in and come in. But I've not seen anyone use it who didn't improve. It doesn't mean they made the tour. If you improve 5 strokes, that's a great thing.
Can you describe breathing